Hello team, Dick Dalton again. So for those who are not in Britain, this is what winter looks like in the UK. And this is what spring looks like in the UK. And this is what summer looks like in the UK. Probably autumn as well. It's just grey and drizzly. Right, onwards. So on this little video for you, I'm going to introduce you to Duncan. Now Duncan is a military Land Rover I rescued from some lockup just before the COVID. Yeah, it was really cheap, but it was really bad. So I did some work on it. But what it is, it's a Commandoes winterised waterproof defender. Quite a rare beastie now. Had a normally aspirated 12J engine, which is 2.5 litre diesel, obviously with no turbo, but it's got lots of cool things on it which you wouldn't normally see on a Defender, let alone a military one. And then yeah, they adapted it and did lots of things. This one's had some weird mods. I'm going to go through them now for you. Yeah, so join me on this journey to meet Duncan. So here we go. This is Duncan. Everybody meet Duncan. Registration, military registration 71KJ66. So this worked with 2-4 Commando regiment and saw operations I don't know in various places. It's an FFR fitted for radio. It's dual electrics. It has 12 volt and a 24 volt system. Fitted for radio and winterised waterproof, which means it's designed to drive off landing craft and sink, because that's what most of them did. We went too far away from the shore. So everyone meet Duncan. We're not going to introduce you to this little chicken. You have to wait for that one later. So I'm going to take you into some details of Duncan, of weird things that they used to fit on the winterised waterproof. Now what you can see already, interestingly, it obviously has a snorkel. That's kind of standard, and the radio boxes on the wings, and you see the antennas on the side. It's just fitted with 4 aerials, so it could transmit and receive 4 different radio frequencies. And the roof rack is actually genuine from the military, so that's where I used to put a lot of the gear and stuff. And I'll take you on a journey of more in-depth things. Ooh, Commando. So on the roof rack there, these really big mountings, so that the roof rack would take loads of weight. Because actually, for those who don't know, the Defender's windscreen surrounds are made by a cast alloy, and they're really weak, so they snap. And on Henrietta, we snapped them going across the desert because we had a lot of kit on the roof. Going in depth, just so for the people who have a winterised waterproof and don't really know much about it, there's loads of cool little stuff. So we can see up here, we've got little pegs below the roof rack, and that's where the blackout blinds fit on the windscreen, so they can operate at night time and keep the cold air out. So they're here. There's these pads, and that's because obviously they're working cold climate, they'd leave the engine running, and then they've got velcro running all around the doors to keep the cold out. That's standard military. And we go to the back, it's got the flap that covers the fuel tank. Again, that's to keep the snow off, and so it doesn't freeze solid, so you can still get to the fuel. So it's the standard military headlights, as you can see, and then again you've got the are these Zeus clips or something like that, which fit along the front, and then you have a pad that goes over the radiator to stop the radiator from filling up with snow, because if it's cold it can actually stop the airflow, and then weirdly overheats. That happened to me in the Arctic with Henrietta, my V8 110, and then obviously you've got the hitch on the front and then your post on the side. Now I'm going to teach you this next one. So here's a weird little thing. So on a winterised waterproof Defender, it uses a Series 3 air intake, which you'll find on the Series 3 Land Rovers. Now, on the winterised waterproof Defender, they found that a lot of the snow filled up the air intake for the heater, so they put it on the side and used the Series 3 heater air intake, and then tubed it through to the heater matrix box. So, as a side note to all of this, I thought I'd let you know a bit about me. I seem to be some sort of weird anorak about Land Rovers. One time I had 59. Yeah, I owned 59 Land Rovers all at the same time, which, even by my standards, thought was excessive a little bit. So I now have five Land Rovers. This is one of 5. Yeah, so I'm a bit of a weirdo in many ways, but just for Land Rovers. And I used to build them, restore them as a hobby. Now I just play with them when I can, but work's hectic, so I don't get much time. Onwards and forwards. So you can see it has the snorkel, which is quite standard on quite a lot of military ones. So this is plumbed in, obviously, all the way through to the engine. Not plumbed in on this one at the moment. I'll show you why in a minute. And then we carry on through, and it's fairly standard on this side. You can still see the pads that go with the windscreens and stuff like that. And if we go around to the back, so missing at the moment on the top of this, the roof rack, would be a wooden plate, and it's called the Pioneer rack, I think, and kits goes up there, and I can't remember what it is. I don't have it. And then your canoes and stuff at the top, and it's got this rolly bar that you slide your canoes on the top, and then on the back you have your I think some people call this a Pioneer rack as well. It's where your spade goes and your pickaxe and your handle fits in there as well. And then obviously the back of the military stuff, you've got your NATO plug for the trailer and your standard military nitrate. Now, interestingly with this, and I think this is OE from the military, because this wasn't in civilian hands for a very long time before it's parked up. It's got the NATO hitch, but it's also got a ball hitch. Now, people mess about with military stuff, even in the military. So the Commandos would have had something else fitted on there, but I haven't found out what that is yet. And then obviously on the back of this, you've got the Velcros that fits around the windows, and these windows on the back have been, the quarter lights have been blacked out, which is quite interesting. I forgot I left this hat in the Land Rover. It's been in there for a while, and it's really cozy. What do you think? You like it? So on the passenger side, there's some cool little things, details. I'll take you around the driver's side in a minute. So there's the old chart where they used to keep their radio codes and stuff on above the sun visor. It doesn't have a sunroof. What this is an escape hatch in case they come off the landing craft and it's way too deep. So, like, rather than just die, they can get out the roof and not die, which is cool. Okay, and here is the SA-80 gun rack. So the butt clip is down here, and then the rifle goes in there, mounts to that. It's really cool. On the passenger side, also you have a map reading light, which is on military Land Rovers. That's really cool. That still works, which is great. Most of it works, actually. It's pretty good. And then you've got the battery stays mounted under where they normally are in Defenders. Now, what's really interesting, if I bend over here a little bit, can you see under there? It has a radiator. So the whole heating system of the Land Rover is all plugged up to the engine, and it has a preheater, which I'll show you in a minute. And that radiator is to stop the battery from freezing, because if a battery freezes, it doesn't work very well. And then connected to the battery, this is your jump lead. So a NATO connector. Most military vehicles have these. Not all of them. So my 101 ambulance does not have this, and nor does my recce vehicle, which is really odd. So you jump those generally, that's right, because not many 12 volts have these. All 24 volts do, if I remember rightly. So there we go. Now, what's really interesting about this Land Rover, it is one-piece door. It doesn't have the slidey door top. It has a wind-up window handle, which is genuine from the military on this vehicle. They specified it to have wind-up windows. I don't know if other people of winterised waterproof Defenders have that, but this does, and this is OE from the military, which is pretty interesting. Now, what's really cool about this Land Rover is it being a waterproof Land Rover, the dashboard has the ability to be completely covered, which is really cool. So what happens here is a Perspex sheet goes over this. Now they're missing from this, but I can make new ones, and then it gets sealed with silicone. And on the back, the cables on the back are all sealed. So, I mean, I don't know why, because they don't work anyway, but it's to stop them working less. And then in the center, we have a different type of center dashboard, obviously military light switch, but again, this is all insulated and waterproof. You've got a hatch that comes over the front of this, which I don't have on this currently. It's got a heated windscreen. Again, that was specified by the military. And then you heat your workings for the heating, so you have a backup for the Webasto on this one actually. And then the fuse box again is allegedly waterproof, but blatantly not. But nice thought though, it's good. And then on the radio rack, I don't have radios fitted to this yet because I haven't got around to getting all those. This is just some kit we've got in here, and obviously the center box is not the correct one, but it's pretty good for us. So that's, yeah, the radio rack is where they put all the kit. I'm going to take you around the back. No, I'm not. Don't worry, I'm not going to take you around the back. I'm just going to show you in the rear of the vehicle. So as you can see in the back of the Land Rover, we've got some of the radio kit there and the control boxes, and then in the back you have the radiators that keep you warmer. In fact, it's warmer in the back than in the front in this because there's so many holes in it. Shall we have a look at the engine bay? Would you like to see inside Duncan's hood? Now, as you Land Rover aficionados have noticed, oh, there's a turbo. That's not a non-turbo. Correct. It's got the wrong engine in it. This is a 19J. 19J turbo, which is 2.5 litre diesel turbo. Not the correct engine for this. This needs to come out. I do have a military 12J engine, which is fitted for radio, because this is missing the brackets for the alternator, which we'll do in another video. So we're going to take this engine out and put the correct engine in. This is not running currently because the starter motor's gone. So what is unusual under here? So that's the breathers, that's the snorkel cover, and there's a tube that then attaches to the air intake, which is down there. That's how this old chap works. And then you've got these which go to the axles, because obviously when the vehicle comes off a landing craft into the sea, it cools the axles. Then obviously cooling is air retraction, and if you have the axle breather on the axles and you get air retraction, it sucks in water, and then you've got seawater in your axles, and it's a really bad idea to have seawater in your axles. You all know that from your wild camping trips, don't you? And then here is the Webasto heater. Now, I thought it was an Airbus backer, but I believe it is. No, it is definitely a Webasto. So that is not working currently. That is another thing to fix. So that can obviously run independently from the vehicle running. So you can be parked up, silent running with just the batteries and the Webasto heater on. So you can stay warm and talk to your mates on radio. So other than the 20-volt alternator and the engine, what did the Romans ever do for us? Sorry about that. So things to fix. Yes, we've got to do the engine, change the engine back to a 12J, which we'll do in a video for you. Probably two, because it's a big job. 24-volt alternator to fit and plug up the electrics for that. Can you remember what else is broken? The starter motor. Well, that's going to be with the engine anyway. There's some bodywork stuff to do, so let me show you that, because I can't do it like this. It's easier to point that way. So some of the keen-eyed viewers noticed the damage in the bonnet. The damage is on both sides, and do you know why? Because after doing some work on Duncan, I took it for a test drive, and it drove fine until I realised that I hadn't put the bonnet down properly, and it flew off. It went over the Land Rover and landed in the road behind me, and there was a lorry following me, and he was laughing his head off, and I felt very foolish. That's the first time I've done that, but there we go. I have to re-weld this, the door pillar on the driver's side, because this was repaired when I first got the vehicle to get it back on the road because the door had fallen off on the floor. However, when I repaired it, now you guys who know what you're doing, unlike me, I was 5mm too far that way, which is what's given me this problem here. The hinge isn't lining up and the door won't shut, which means birds can escape, and you don't want that happening. So I've got to remake this and put this in its right orientation, and then the door will fit properly. Along with my hat, I found this inside, and it's really smelly. Sorry about that. I do like to play with you, sorry. You just have to bear with me in my weird times. Thank you, guys. That was Duncan. There he is. We're going to do a series of videos on that, so stick with us and subscribe to us, and we'll show you the journey on getting the winterised waterproof Land Rover, which is Duncan, back on the road. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.